I am the co-founder and CEO at Tangram, and Tangram is a multi-vendor marketplace software that makes it 100 times faster and cheaper to launch a marketplace. And we do this without requiring the marketplace founders to know how to code. They can just use our software and get 80 to 90% of a marketplace's functionality, and then build on top of that.
All right, this is another episode of the Form Your Own Pack podcast from Founders Pack. My guest today is Paris Mielke from Tangram. How are you doing, Paris?
Good. How are you? Thanks so much for having me on here.
No problem. Now, you were another Techstars grad that we've got a chance to talk to. What was your, first of all, maybe what was your experience like in Techstars?
Yeah, Techstars was great. I didn't really know what to expect going into it, but I definitely didn't expect the knowledge that I got from there to be like one of the most overarching benefits. Like I had kind of like capital being a main benefit of going into an accelerator.
Sure.
I mean, an accelerator can help you, but specifically this guest visitor, Bob Moesta, came in and taught us about this framework called the jobs to be done framework. And that has helped us immensely in sort of identifying how customers decide to hire or like opt in to purchase their software, and what, like how to figure out their decision-making process, which can kind of help you target your customers. And that was one of the biggest benefits of going to Techstars Chicago.
Wow, that sounds actually super interesting. We'd definitely like to learn a little bit more about that. So jobs to be done. And what was his name? It was Bob?
Bob Moesta. He studied
Cool.
under a Stanford professor, and they kind of worked on that framework for several years.
I will definitely check that out. All right, so for people that don't know, who is Paris and what is Tangram?
I am the co-founder and CEO at Tangram, and Tangram is a multi-vendor marketplace software that makes it 100 times faster and cheaper to launch a marketplace. And we do this without requiring the marketplace founders to know how to code. They can just use our software and get 80 to 90% of a marketplace's functionality, and then build on top of that.
So what motivated you to solve this problem?
Yeah, so way back when we started in 2019, my co-founder and I were at Carnegie Mellon University. We were both studying technical degrees, and we wanted to start a company together. And as we were exploring ideas, I read this article by Li Jin and Andrew Chen from A16Z at the time. It was titled, What's Next for Service Marketplaces? And one of the stats that really stood out to me, and I've become obsessed about ever since, is that 93% of all services in the United States are transacted entirely offline. So think like your mom and pop, like mechanic shop or a dentist's office or a veterinary clinic. Like these services don't have any type of digital aspect to them. And it seemed obvious to me that this was going to change. How were we going to digitize 93% of these transactions? And that's kind of why I started working on Tangram today. Originally, we were a marketplace ourselves, though. So we were trying to like focus on one industry to bring online at a time.
So when you say marketplace, just so people understand, what sort of marketplace could anyone or has anyone built on this?
So you can think like Fiverr for X clones, Uber for X, Airbnb for X. We specialize in what we consider service marketplaces. So buying and selling services, renting spaces out, anything to do with like assigning a time or availability for an expert or space.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that makes sense. And the scheduling is always a big trick in those things. It's just one of many features that you need to make work to make
and tying that to payments and chat, it just becomes
right.
like Frankensteining everything together now.
Totally understand the technical, the challenges of that problem. All right, and then so where are you guys at, and how did you get your first customer?
Our first customer for our current iteration or pivot of Tangram was, we pivoted during the Techstars accelerator. And we were surrounded by a bunch of other people starting marketplaces, and they had a bunch of the same problems. And that's what kind of ticked our brain into, can we make this easier so they don't end up spending 24K on a custom developer just to realize that they built the wrong thing? So our first customers were in that Techstars batch, actually, for our current iteration.
Oh, great. Okay. That's amazing. And then what's next for you guys? What are you guys up to now, and what's the future hold?
What's next? So we recently positioned ourselves as like a headless multi-vendor commerce solution, and are marketing ourselves to integrate with another no-code front end called Webflow. We've had a lot of attention for this recent pivot, and so we're leaning into that, and we're making every single page of Tangram and your marketplace be able to be customized in Webflow. So there will be no difference between a fully custom coded app and one built without code, because you can both customize the design and the backend logic of the marketplace without having to code. So we're very excited to release kind of pre-built templates for marketplaces. So imagine going to
Good idea.
and seeing like Airbnb for X template or Fiverr for X, and just tweaking maybe like your branding colors and filters, but really you get like 80% of what's needed to receive payments, have in-app chat, have scheduling out of the box, and you'll just click it, purchase the template, clone, and you'll be on your way.
So it sounds, I'll look at the features, but so let's say theoretically we wanted to have a startup marketplace where people put their MVP products up and they demo them. Would that work?
Yep. So we could have the ability to search user profiles. So maybe some stakeholders or user accounts you could have are the startup founders themselves. They can share expertise. Or you could have like a listing search page where listings could be anything from like job posts to services that they offer for fixed prices or hourly prices, or really it's up to you what you want to sell on the marketplace, or what types of user roles you would want to interact with one another.
That's super interesting. Yeah, I guess what we've thought about is a platform that does two things. One, lets people that start companies like yourself put their first iteration of their product up, and people can vote with their dollars. It's like, yeah, I'll right, lifetime subscription type deal. And then if we did demo days, you could post events, and they could demo with the proof of, well, we have 100 first-time customers.
And you could sell tickets to those events through the platform.
Cool. Okay, well, we're gonna check that out. That's awesome. I definitely need like a personal demo for this, amongst all the other things going on. But this is really interesting. Okay. All right. So if you could offer other founders only one piece of advice, what would that be?
Trust yourself, but only when you've done enough thinking. If you can explain your thoughts to another person, to your mom, and they understand what you're talking about, that's probably a good indication that you've thought about it hard enough. But I say that because you're going to receive so much feedback from so many different VCs, investors, stakeholders, team members. You have to be solid in what your vision is and where you want to go.
I love it. That is very good advice. What has the role of partnerships and/or community been in your success so far?
Honestly, we haven't pursued many partnerships as a startup yet. I think moving forward, it's going to be important to delegate work. Specifically for our company, a bottleneck we've run into recently is it's time consuming to support our customers over the entire journey of their marketplace build. Like, you need a lot of things as you grow the marketplace. You need designers, you need developers, you need like sales consultants.
Oh, that makes sense. Partners.
And so bringing in development shops, or like creating our own marketplace, even for like partnering Webflow.
That's a good idea.
Is something that's very important to scale that up to the next level.
Oh, can totally see that. That makes a lot of sense. Or just make an AI that does it all. That's where we got to go. All right. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, Paris?
Twitter, or our Slack community, or LinkedIn. So Paris Mielke /Paris Mielke is my LinkedIn, /try Tangram's our company account, and our Slack community is linked on our website, Tangram.co, where all our team is usually responsive within 15 minutes if you ever want like
Oh,
live
so
live
there you
questions.
go. Well, and I guess that was the first half. So we could have talked about community. So it sounds like you've been successful in building community and you've used Slack specifically for that.
Yeah, we're on there most of the day.
Oh, I live on there. Okay. I'm probably on there 27% of the day. All right, that's
Probably
amazing.
healthier that way.
All right, well, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us about Tangram. It sounds very interesting. We should definitely connect and learn to understand a little bit more. I do want to invite you to check out, I don't know if you're interested, we are running for members a series of mastermind matchmaking groups. So we're preparing founders like yourself, Y Combinator, Techstars, Hustle Fun with other founders or similar background into small 5-6 person groups. So if you're interested in that, I'll invite you to that. And then I'll send you a draft of the new book, Form Your Own Pack. Would love your feedback on that.
Yeah, I'd love to provide feedback and would love to get connected to other founders.
Terrific. All right. So the final thing is when we have interesting people on the podcast, we like you to nominate another interesting person. As you know, we talk to Y Combinator, Techstars, Hustle Fund type founders or investors. Who would you, Paris, like to nominate as a future guest on the podcast?
It's a company called Hometainment. I'd like to nominate Sandro. I can't remember his last name.
That's all right. Sandra
But
from Hometainment. Okay.
I will reach out with his contact details.
Is it Batista?
Yes.
We found him. All right, Sandro Batista, you have been nominated as a future guest by Paris. Looks like another Canadian.
Yes. Or potentially. They're operating
Potentially
in London
Canadian.
right now, but they're a distributed team.
Oh, cool. Okay, great. Sandra, we look forward to meeting you. Thank you so much for the introduction ahead of time. We look forward to following the rest of your journey, Paris.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.